Hey, you guys, so I want to give you guys three stocks that I want you to keep on your radar for the remaining of the week. And one of them in particular, I want you to really watch leading into next week because they do have earnings coming up. And there was some news there that we kind of want to watch to see how it continues to play out. Now, the very first one that I want you guys to keep your eye on is SoFi. SoFi has been going crazy this in the entire month of September. Okay, so we really saw a massive push up, but we are starting to come back down and retest some of those levels that I've been waiting for. And I thought we were probably going to hit it on today, but we didn't quite get there. But we closed out at 25.76 on SoFi. Now, what I'm looking for tomorrow, well, not just tomorrow, but kind of leading into next week, depending on how it plays out tomorrow, is that we can get a retest of 25.11. Personally, that's the level that I'm watching to see if we're going to hold there or we're going to break there. If we get to 25.11 and we can hold above it, close above it, start pushing back up, then I would look to potentially get there for calls, ride that thing up with my first target of about $26.84. And then we break above that, we can test 27.88. And then I'll have a longer term goal up here at that high of 30.33. Now, I was also kind of looking at this little level around here, around 28.62 as another exit. Now, this one in particular, I'm looking to do anywhere between 5 to 10 contracts, or probably 10. And the reason being is because I don't just want this to be a short-term thing. I want to get in with probably like a November, maybe December expiration date and sell my contracts along the way to let SoFi run back up. Okay. But if we break below this 25.11, then I'll be looking for a 23.71 test, 22.74, and breaking below that at 21.21, which is pushing it even lower. So I'm looking to do those 10 contracts going in either direction and just selling at those targets. So keep them on your radar. Watch where and how it plays out on tomorrow. It did finally get back below that 26 where I was waiting for a pullback after that run up took place so that I can kind of maneuver on my entries to ride it back up. Right now, that's SoFi. The next one is Intel, INTC. If you're in my Skool community, you'll know that I posted a trade plan on Intel, and I talked about it in a previous video where the news hit that Nvidia invests that $5 billion into Intel, right? But before it did, I caught this little pennant here where it was in that trade plan to make a move on, and it was already playing out before the news came. Once that news came, woke up, and we were already up here in those 30s, and it was an amazing play. So, of course, I'm looking to make another move on Intel because there has been additional news coming out, more investments. They're seeking investments from Apple. They're looking to make AMD one of their customers. There's a lot of things that we want to keep on our radar with Intel. So what I'm looking for is to see where we can break tomorrow or just in general. My break-in hold area is about 26.27. If we can break above that, then I can have I probably would say a little bit before 39. It just depends on how it moves, because without any news, it may have a little bit of slow movement there. So I would be looking for that 36, getting to like that 38, 39, and just letting it test higher. Okay, we got these higher levels up here in those 40s. So breaking above that 39, that 36 opens the door for that 39 and to push a bit higher. Long-term play. This is the exact same way with SoFi. November, December expiration to give it time to play out and let more news hit that could have a positive impact on the stock. Okay. Now, if we don't hold, if we don't break above it and we push back down from that 36.27, then I want to see if we can retest that 32.40. Not 100% sure if it's going to happen on tomorrow. We kind of got to watch that pre-market, see how it works, and then kind of make our move from there. But there's a possibility it could hold up at 32.40. But in the event that it does not, I would look for the rejection here at about 36.27 to make my move on puts. But I want to have enough confirmation that we're going to push further down. Now, even if we go from 36 to 32, that could still be a good move, just simply depending on how many contracts you have, as well as what strike price you select. It could still be a good move. Long term wise, we can get all the way back down here. Now, this is my real entry target that I'm looking for us to fill this gap, retest that 26.67, and then I want to ride it all the way back up here, here, and then keep pushing up. But these would be my ideal targets getting back to 36. That could be an amazing play, but I definitely want to get back to this 26 to potentially catch a full $10 move, November, December expiration. All right, so keep Intel on your radar. And SoFi Intel have premiums not too expensive, but of course, the further you go out, it is going to push up a little bit. But their premiums will not be as expensive as this next one, and that is Meta. Now, Meta and Coreweave. Let's see, was it Coreweave? Let me go back. Here it says, let's see, Meta is really, they dropped $17 today. That's the first thing, okay? It was down $17 on the day, and this right here was kind of around those AI concerns, but also something that I always notice with Meta is that Meta normally has this nice little pullback right before earnings take place to kind of get it back down to some heavy levels, and then of course this thing runs right back up. Okay, so they have earnings coming up on October 22nd. And if I were to get into Meta, which I am, once we get back to these levels that I'm looking at about a November expiration on this one as well. All right, so two levels down at this bottom, I'm watching for 691.38 and 678.06. Now, getting back there, I would definitely be in this thing for a long run. I probably would either go to December or maybe January, because getting in down here at this 678, riding it back up, we got 691, we got this level. I would probably do between 3 to 5 contracts and just kind of base it on how many targets I have, or just what's the long-term goal for this one, okay? But if we can get back here to 691 and we can hold above that, we can push back up. But if it breaks below that 691, then we have some hurdles that we got to get back to 678. But this is more of a long-term thing. We got to see how Meta continue to react to additional news as far as their partnerships in AI, because that $17 drop today, potentially we get another $17 drop tomorrow, we can really begin to kind of get back to these levels. So this is one that I just mainly want you to watch and keep on your radar, because it could definitely be gearing up for a massive move with earnings coming up. Now, I'm not a heavy trader of earnings, but Meta is one of those companies that I am willing to actually trade on earnings. But a lot of times when I do, it's either with a straddle or a strangle that I use on this one, so that I can kind of play both sides of the fence just in case. But anytime I do, it always runs up. So I'm not heavy on earnings, but Meta is one of those ones that I would take a risk on earnings. Okay, so keep it on your radar. I'm definitely excited about the play if we can get back to those levels that I'm watching at this bottom and just see how it continues to move. Okay, so SoFi, Intel, and Meta are three that I want you guys to watch. SoFi, Intel, much more easier on the entry. Meta, you're gonna need some money in your account. Okay, it's anywhere between, depending on how far you go on that option chain, I would say at minimum $850, $900. It just all depends on how far you're willing to go on that chain and how long you're willing to hold. My thing is, if you're going to go far out of the money, I highly recommend you getting into a position that you have some time on your side, so that if you are down, like far down, you have time to let it run back up. Okay, so even if I were to do, let's see, a November 7th expiration, just a 720 strike is about cost you about $3,900. Okay, 715 about $4,050, and so forth. Okay, so if you're going further out of the money, 800, 600 is still up there. So Meta wouldn't exactly be one of those plays for anyone who's super new to it and still trying to find some lower risk trades. SoFi and Intel will be the ones that you would definitely need to keep on your radar. All right, so that's just what I have for you guys. Watch them. Of course, ask any question that you may have for it. I will be posting updates on, of course, when I enter my trades, as well as those levels. So especially with Meta, once we hit those levels, however it's moving, keeping everyone updated on that, because this one could definitely be one of those ones you don't want to miss if you're able to get into it. But don't try to force it, because you try to go too far out of the money, and even if it does make a parabolic move, you may not see as much profit as you would if you were a little higher up on that option chain for your calls. All right, so with that, I will see you guys in the next one.